how do rappers start songs?
Oh yeah.
Like, as this is Sharp Pen coming in, reporting
Mustard
live,
on the beat.
5 a.m.
Yeah.
We got Sal on the beat.
Yeah, exactly.
DJ Sally Sal.
DJ Sally Sal on the beat.
Shout out to the West Coast. Shout out to the East Coast.
Free my
Shout out
homie.
down south. Free my man Warren from perpetual flus because it's so cold in Canada.
So with that being said, GX family, we have the latest and greatest with Sharpen about something that I don't think the field is very much aware of, something that actually the company's philosophy has been lost in trying to get the bigger and bigger deals, not realizing who we're trying to cater to and the movement that we're trying to create for the masses, for the world, for the adoption of fiat into crypto. And with that, I'll let Sharpen discuss what we are meant for and what we are trying to avoid, and what people may have the wrong intention or wrong perception of what the GX brokers are really going after. Are you going after the institutional people coming in, or are you going after the everyday individual that's trying to buy some crypto? So, Sharpen, take the floor. The mic is yours.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to save a lot of the fluffy talk, as Sal will probably go in detail a lot of that, what this means to people. But lots of people approach us, lots of people approach me even before Global Exchange, and now it's just amplified about doing large OTC transactions. So this is how this conversation always starts. Hey Sharpan, I have someone that's ready to do $20 trillion Bitcoin trade. And I'm like, only $20 trillion. And I'm like, all right, man, that sounds great. And I filtered this I've heard this so many times. I've heard 2,000 Bitcoins. I've heard 20 Bitcoins. I've heard they have $70 million in the west coast of Australia that needs to be moved. I mean, I've heard every convoluted idea for these large Bitcoin trades you can ever imagine. It's always someone that's really new to the industry being excited about large numbers. So let me just kind of pop everyone's bubbles. 99% of large OTC transactions never happen. The reason they never happen is because either the buyer or the seller is far too removed from the transaction already. If there's a middle person that's talking to you, I'll guarantee you he's not the only middle person.
Oh, yeah.
He's speaking on behalf of another middle person, who's speaking on behalf of another middle person, who's speaking on behalf of another middle person, who dog sits the son of the person who might be interested in buying Bitcoin. And since most transactions architecture are based like that and so baseless, we're not really keen on entertaining them. I've never been a fan of them. I always said that a transaction over $100,000 is a waste of time because the amount of time that it requires to go and pursue that, negotiate with the buyer or seller, bring a buyer and seller together, and then try to facilitate it is just not conductive return on investment for anyone's time. Yeah. So always we've been clear that our philosophy is we value getting Bitcoin into the hands of as many people as possible, which we are focused on small transactions. That is what made Coinbase successful. That is what made Binance successful. That is what's made us successful to date. We are hyper-focused on transactions below $10,000. Does that mean that if you go try to do a transaction above $10,000, it's not going to work? Of course it'll work. It'll work just like the person that's doing $2. Yeah. Maybe it'll actually be a little bit slower because now everyone that's involved in this transaction has to do more verification. However, it will work. The only thing that I just wanted to make clear to the community is that we don't care to provide any additional attention to the person that's doing $10 million transactions. Now, we've never done one that big, but we don't care to. If someone said that to me, it doesn't excite me one little bit. All I hear is probably something that's not going to happen. So when looking at that, my word of advice is that don't take anything seriously over $100,000. Doesn't matter who you're talking to. Do not take anything seriously over $100,000. And even if someone says $100,000, I'd be wary and be like, all right, why don't you do a $1,000 transaction first, and then we can definitely do a $100,000 transaction. And then if you prove to that you can do that, then we can do a $10 million transaction. Yeah. But the reality of the situation is that do not get conned. No. What I mean by conned is don't waste your time chasing after quote unquote big fish. There's a reason there are big fish. They're deep in the ocean. Oh. Get it? Big fish don't swim up near top. They're deep. Here. So you're going to spend so much time, money, and effort yanking them out.
Yeah. Where there's so many
and they're such low margins. If someone has $10 million to buy Bitcoin, trust me, he's not paying your fees.
Wow. Yeah, they're getting below spot. They're getting below spot.
They need below spot. People buying over $250,000 are taking below spot. You guys don't get below spot.
Yeah.
And trust me, you can't. You're not going to get below spot anywhere else either. It's not like it's just with us. You're not getting below spot. So at the end of the day, it's like a complete endeavor. I understand that's glamorous. Imagine making 0.1% on a 10 million or whatever. Like, focus on the guy that needs $1,000. Focus on the person that's never used Bitcoin before. You will make far more money than chasing after these alleged whales. Again, not a fan of them. Not a fan of those transactions. I will potentially get involved, in maybe a company that's all that they do, but that's not us. If you want to do a large transaction, we can do it. We've done many 6-7-figure transactions, and to be honest, none of them have been ones that at the end of it, I'm like, yeah, that was a great experience. We just finished it, and we're like, almost thank God it's finished. Right? Because, but the joy that we get when someone gets $100 of Bitcoin is second to none. That's just our opinion. That's how our systems are built. We will always forever perpetually peddle the idea of smaller transactions, getting them in as many people's hands as possible. And
the reality of it is that we get paid on volume, whether that volume comes from one large whale, which is tremendous amount of a percentage of not going through, the rate of that actually passing through is extremely low, and the burden and the energy that it sucks up to actually process that is quite a bit. And then also the reality is that you can get that same $10 or $100,000 transaction processed by 100 people at $1,000 much easier and quicker, and with less stress on the company. And as you can
There's less stress on you. I mean, the company, again, it is really irrelevant, right? Like, just think about your time, how much you as a broker in the field are going to invest time into convincing someone to do business with you. It's like hedge fund managers that only solicit the ultra wealthy. Do you know who else is soliciting the ultra wealthy? Everyone else. Like, it's such a complete nonsensical approach, and it's so painful. Like, the amount of KYC goes through the roof. Everyone involved now gets agitated. Everyone involved now has a million more questions. It's like, what is it so much more advantageous? And I don't even agree with Sal that volume is volume wherever it comes from. I, as a broker, as the owner of this company,
I'm not saying.
I would say it's way more beneficial to
that.
get $1,000 from 10 people than to get
Dude,
1,000.
exactly.
Yeah, I'm sorry, maybe I misunderstood. But I'm saying it's like the amount of
energy.
The amount of investment, because you're always trying to get a return on investment for your time, and you're trying to get a return on investment for your success of your customer getting happy. The dude that you're going to do a $10 million transaction for will forget about you. That's another thing. He's not going to be particularly loyal. They're opportunistic. They have lots of options. They're not going to pay your fees. They're going to make you do a KYC nightmare. And I guarantee you, this is the funny part. They never end up happening. Like, they just don't, and people don't believe me until it doesn't end up happening for them. Trust me, you will work months on deals, and it won't happen. Because it's like you're wasting your time with someone who's not so invested into this deal. Again, we've done large transactions. We have some great partners in the institutional space. We are not, I wouldn't recommend anyone focusing on that. And I kind of, point of this brand was to explain to people that is not glamorous. It's actually the opposite of glamorous, and it's not that profitable for anyone involved.
Absolutely. So let's take this in, realize what global exchange is meant to do, the mass migration that it's meant for, and the people that we're meant to serve is not these high-end, which we can serve them, but do not get too excited. Do not start wagging your tail just because you hear someone's going to do.
And especially, guys, if you're new to the space, you're going to go on Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn or every convoluted platform, and people are going to message you as soon as you start putting out crypto content. Hey, I have a buyer for 19 Bitcoin. Meet me in Portugal. Meet me in Timbuktu. Guys, be realistic. Your network is. You have a network, you have a warm network that's probably interested in buying anywhere between $1,000 to $10,000 at most. Then you have maybe a broader reach of a cooler network. They might be a little bit more because you gradient away from your income level, let's say about 50,000. That's it, that's the big money. That's where companies have made fortunes, figuring out that always sell McDoubles. Do not sell caviar and lobsters.
Great point, and great reasons why companies like Coinbase has really taken off, and let's serve the people that we know need it the most, and the people that are actually limited on the options, like the everyday person, and we'll do very well. So this has been episode 1 of
the latest and greatest with Sharp.
Exactly. We'll catch you on another update.